For the Poco X3 Pro, we'll be releasing the leading 4G processor in 2021, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 860. As an 800 series processor, it uses a flagship structure and only a 7nm process. And this prime core has a pretty high 2.96 GHz speed, offering a ton of power. The Snapdragon 860 comes with the Qualcomm Adreno 640, offering smooth gaming. Using the Snapdragon 860, we were able to get a stable 50 frames per second on average, and the settings were on high. But besides GPU, the 860 have a great AI engine as well, up to 7.6 trillion operations per second, also one of the highest in the 4G segment, which allows photo editing and video editing faster and quicker. The X3 Pro's Snapdragon 860 scored a very high Antutu benchmark of around 490,000. Now, if we take one of the most commonly used 4G processor in the market, but that is 76% in difference compared to the 860. The Snapdragon 765G, which is a 5G chipset, but the difference here is still very obvious. 52% better performance with the 860. At Poco, we're raising that standard and showing our fans it's most certainly possible to put an 800 series in the mid-range segment. We've also added UFS 3.1, which is a standard in high-end flagships these days, but still pretty rare in the mid-range segment. And for our UFS 3.1, you can now get up to 256 GB of internal storage. Compared to last year's Poco X3 NFC, it's an upgrade from 128 GB. But we also have a shocking expandable storage, up to 1 TB. Of course, we didn't forget to upgrade our RAM as well, up to 8 gigs of RAM, flagship level, offering a complete flagship performance. Now, powering all this performance, we still have a huge battery of 5,160 milliamp. And even with an 800 series processor, we're still getting great single usage time. With our MMT 33-watt fast charging, the Poco X3 Pro can reach 100% in just 59 minutes. Now, the X3 Pro still features a quad camera setup, a 48-megapixel main camera using the Sony IMX582, a 119-degree ultra-wide camera, a macro camera, and a depth sensor. First, we have the main camera shot. When you turn on your macro camera and shoot closer, you can actually see the water droplets on the gear. Super small details can be seen with macro mode. Then, when you take a portrait shot with the depth sensor, with this mode, you can see how it captured with great details and blurring out the background. And of course, the 119 ultra-wide angle camera, which is great for architecture shots like this. In this photo, with ultra night mode turned on, when you're in a dark environment with some lights in the background, it actually boosts the brightness contrast while maintaining the colors. But most importantly, we do have the video features that's powered by the Snapdragon 860, specifically video clones and dual video. Let's check out both video out right now. That was some awesome videos. And to support our dual video, we actually have a 20 megapixel in-display front camera, which we also added a new feature, night mode selfie. This is Poco X3 Pro's camera, with more software features powered by the Snapdragon 860 and maintaining a quad camera setup from last generation. And now for design. We've used a dual texture in the back. So on the sides of the X3 Pro, it has a matte finish, so it can prevent fingerprints. We have the Phantom Black, the Frost Blue, and the Metal Bronze. All three colors are brand new and refined. For our X3 Pro's display, we kept the 6.67-inch dot display, keeping it super immersive. We still have that tiny, tiny dot at the top, same size as the previous generation. And it's still a flagship level display that features 120 Hz refresh rate and 240 Hz touch sampling rate. And the X3 Pro also kept dynamic switch, an awesome smart tech that helps save battery. On the X3 Pro, we added Corning Gorilla Glass 6, giving flagship level display protection. With the X3 Pro, you're still getting great audio no matter what you're doing. Let's take a look at one of the flagships from last year that was also tested for DxO Mark audio. The Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G scored 68, just a little bit above Poco X3 NFC. But look at the price difference. It's fair to say we're pretty much on the same level as flagships. And when it comes to touch, we still have a great Z-axis linear motor. It's super responsive when you're gaming and giving you the ultimate view experience. And lastly, the essential features: IR blaster, NFC, and headphone jack. For our base variant of 6GB and 128GB, we do have an amazing price. It starts at 249 euros, but we still have an early bird price to show you. For the base variant, we have an early bird price of 229 euros. We want to use this time to thank our fans, so we tweaked the early bird price a little. We actually have an early bird pricing on the base variant for 199 euros. Now, for our higher variant of 8GB plus 256GB, we also have an amazing price that starts at 299 euros. Of course, for our high variant, we do have an early bird pricing. It starts at 279 euros. Now you see the question mark again. For the high variant, we actually have an early bird price of 249 euros. This makes Poco X3 Pro one of the most affordable 4G flagship on the market. It will be available from March 24th to April 1st on early bird pricing specifically for these channels. Our new official Poco website will be one of the first channels you can check out, so make sure you mark your calendars. Now, we'll also be coming soon on a lot more platforms, so please follow our official accounts in your regions to stay up to date on when it will be available. And we also got one more thing. Today, we will be launching the latest F-series, the long-awaited Poco F3, the real beast. The Snapdragon 870, one of the latest Qualcomm 800 series chipset. In short, I can tell you the Snapdragon 870 offers beast speed. First, the Snapdragon 870 uses an octa-core structure with 3 different types of cores. We have 1 prime core, 3 performance cores, and 4 efficiency cores. This Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 have a leading prime core speed of 3.2 gigahertz. If you take a look at other flagship phones with other flagship processors in this market, the 870 takes the number 1 spot. If you compare it to A65 again, the 870 has improved by 12% in the single-core CPU performance. And when it comes to gaming, the GPU structure is using the Adreno 650, more than 10% improvement compared to the 865. We ran the Poco F3 on high settings with 60 FPS max and played for 1 hour straight. With the F3, you can get an average of 58 frame rate per second. To support that, we needed to keep the beast cool. We added liquid cool technology 1.0 plus. When it comes to AI processing, the F3 can reach up to 15 trillion operations per second. And that's one of the best performance AI processing from a flagship chipset. It actually scored a very high score of 640,000, a true flagship level Antutu. Comparing to last year's Snapdragon 865 score that we got in the Poco F2 Pro, it has quite the improvement, almost 60,000 points in difference. Technology up to 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.1 and up to 8 gigabytes of RAM from LPDDR5. And when it comes to connectivity, the Poco F3 is also 5G ready. The F3 also supports Wi-Fi 6, which is 2.7 times faster than Wi-Fi 5. And I can tell you with all the confidence in the world, we have a real beast display, a beast screen size, 6.67 inch. Then we decide to go with a flat screen. With a flat screen, the chances of mid-touches and edge is close to none. And to guarantee a full screen experience, we decided to go with a dot display. The F3 has a 2.76 millimeter dot display. That's super small. And if we compare and take Samsung Galaxy S21's dot display, for example, it has a size of 3.61 millimeter. Our 2.76 millimeter tiny dot is an industry-leading tiny dot, but our AMOLED is an E4 AMOLED. It has a peak brightness of 1300 nits, a contrast ratio of 5 million to 1, and the high brightness level is actually at 900. Now, this beast display also supports true color, but as a flagship display, it must also have HDR10+. Now, we also have MEMC. What MEMC does is intelligently analyze the video as you watch, creates additional frames to give you a smooth, clear video better than you would have had without. And on top of all the great features we also have a 360-degree light sensor. We have true display technology to ensure not just the brightness we're adjusting, but also the color warmth on your screen. Our screen is 120 Hz refresh rate. Let's take it up a notch. Touch sampling rate. The Poco F3 features a super high touch sampling rate of 360 Hz. To take it up on a hardware level, we also have a dual speaker setup on the Poco F3. But this dual speakers is special. It's got Dolby Atmos to make the sound even better. By using the X-axis linear motor, you're getting a crisp feedback from every touch. Because the real beast design, I can tell you for certain, there is beauty in this beast. Let's start off these two classy colors. At first, when you put them together, simply elegant. This is the F3 in deep ocean blue, the great blue beast. The F3 is super thin, only at 7.8 millimeter, making it our thinnest Poco smartphone yet. And it weighs only 196 grams. We managed to put in a huge battery of 4,520 milliamp in the F3, which can last for 2 days on a single charge. And at one point, when you do need to charge up, we have the 33-watt fast charging, which only takes 52 minutes to charge to 100%. But on the side of the phone, we have actually further refined our side fingerprint sensor. We flattened the usual fingerprint design and made this more seamless, made it more elegant and clean. For the F3, we have a triple camera setup, a 48-megapixel main camera, a 119-degree ultra-wide, and a telemacro camera that has an autofocus between the distance of 3 centimeters to 7 centimeters. When you use the F3 main camera, you can get really detailed shots like this. Then we also have night mode for the main camera, with the lights around a model turning on night mode, giving more contrast accuracy on the photo. And when it comes to ultra-wide, which allows you to capture a lot more, 119 degree more, when you're at a distance and trying to capture something very large, turn on that ultra-wide to capture the full picture. Telemacro shots can always make the picture seem like it's a whole different thing. A dedicated microphone in the back camera setup that works alongside with your video recording. Now, the part where I know all the fans online is waiting for, price. The 6 gigabyte plus 128 gigabyte option, we have a wild price at 349 euros. And yes, we do have an early bird price. We'll bring it down even lower. 299 euros. And for a higher variant, the 8 gigabyte plus 256 gigabyte option, we also have a great price of 399 euros. But we also have an early bird of 349 euros. Now, availability, the F3 will be first sold on these platforms, starting from March 27th to April 6th. Make sure to follow our official accounts in your region to stay up to date on when it'll be available. That's all for today.
Stay safe, and we will see you very soon.